Morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Jeff Velasquez. I'm the unit commander for Excelsior High Desert Young Marines. I appreciate all of you being here today. I can't tell you what is a good turnout. I'm really happy that you all showed up today. Right now, I'm going to introduce my staff. My executive officer is George O'Keefe. My training officer is Bill Bolger. My unit commander is Jose Flores. My senior training assistant, which is the equivalent of a senior drill instructor, is Orion Bolger. My female training officer is Diane Garcia. My adjutant, my PRO, is Ms. Cindy Velasquez. My parent support organizer, Beverly Gonzalez. My support staff, Jason Garcia. Support staff, Clark Wood. Support staff also Jose Perez. We have support staff Tanya Rhodes. Female affairs officer Loretta O'Keefe. Our support staff plus supply officer is without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the executive officer.
Thank you all for coming this morning. Did you all give your $20 bill at the door? No? I'll take it out. Just kidding. Thank you all for coming this morning. The Excelsior High Desert Young Marines program begins this morning for you. But before we begin, let's all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. And our heart, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Little housekeeping chores. I know everybody wants to know where the restrooms are. For the females, go right through this door where it says exit. There's a second door on your right. For the males, you have to go a little further. It's the outhouse about 5 miles down the road. Not really. Right through the same passageway, turn to your immediate right, it's the second door on your right. The other issue is, please no booing this morning. It hurts my feelings. My name is George O'Keefe, and I'm the executive officer of the Excelsior High Desert Young Marines. My job here is to assist the unit commander in all administrative and management matters to ensure that all young Marines are given the proper training and quality training from the day they begin with their basic recruit training all the way through their highest ranks. Let me give you some look-sees of what happened. Back in 1959, a group of veteran Marines back east got together and they started talking about the young men that were hanging out in different places in town, no different than it is today. They didn't have anything to do, especially during the summertime. They were kind of like lackadaisical about having a goal or focus or doing anything for the community. So those veteran Marines got together and said, what can we do? So they decided one day to start a small young Marine outfit, but they didn't call it the Young Marines at the time. But they did have some used surplus stuff, so they got a bunch of young Marine Corps caps and things of that nature, taught them how to march, taught them how to do close order drill, things of that nature. And lo and behold, the 4th of July came around, and they were able to go into that 4th of July for the town for the very first time, and they began the parade of the Young Marines. That was about 13 to 14 young men. Within 2 years' time frame, there were 30 units that had developed in the same town. They had a complete baseball team, then they had to raise another baseball team that never got whipped, and they were Young Marines. That left that town and started spreading, the word started spreading that the young people between the ages of 12 and 17 at the time it was decided that they needed a formal program to be put together. So the Marine Corps League, which is a veteran organization of Marines as well as hospital corpsmen, got together and decided we should subsidize this organization and try to help these young people. So the rules are, they started out saying, okay, how old do you have to be? 8 years of age till 18. If you are not graduated from high school, you can still continue until you're 18 or upon graduation. So most of our young Marines will stay anywhere between 4 and 5 years, and some further. They get past 18 years of age, want to come back and help the others in the organization, and they become registered adults. So for our purposes, you have before you this morning, the registered adults that came from that genesis. And at the time, they didn't know what they were going to do, but they began volunteering their energy, their time, and their efforts, and it became a given that the registered adults would help the young Marine develop. So the registered adults you see before you, they have to apply to become a registered adult. They have to be 18 years of age or more. Some of us are more than more, 18 years of age. But for our purposes, what we do is we each have a skill, or we each learn a skill that we can introduce to the Young Marine program. As an example, we have people who are veteran Marines who know close order drill. We had a training officer who also knew mountain skills, taught them rappelling and building bridges and things of that nature. We also have classes on leadership and various other classes to teach them about self-discipline, leadership, control, as well as development. But our main focus in the Young Marine program is what we call DDR. Please remember those initials, DDR, the acronym stands for Drug Demand Reduction. The main focus in our program is to live a lifestyle drug-free. And that's our intent. So when you hear that throughout our spiel this morning, it has to do with that particular issue. Back in July of 2012, the school, Excelsior Public Charter School of Victorville, asked the Marine Corps League, the area Marine Corps League detachment, to come aboard and give a hand putting together a youth program. It's very similar to what happened back in 1959. They realized they did not have an ROTC program, which goes under the Department of Defense, but they wanted something that was community-driven. And so this program, which is called the Young Marine Program, was what they needed, what they wanted. So the board of directors got together with some of the detachment members, officers, and sat down and said, how do we build this thing? How do we put it together? So that started in July of 2012. Well, lo and behold, in December 12th of 2012, we got our first charter, our official charter, and became the Excelsior High Desert Young Marines. Within 2 months' time, we pulled together the organization as best we could, and we tried to organize it so we have our first basic recruit training. For those of you who do not know and you remember the old language was boot camp. We're not allowed to say boot camp anymore. It's politically incorrect. So when you hear BRT, it means boot camp. Boot camp means BRT. They're no different. But we have to call it BRT, or basic recruit training. Every young Marine, when they join the Young Marine program, must attend the 26-hour and more hours of drill and basic recruit training. In that particular program, they learn how to get along with each other, they learn teamwork, they learn leadership, they learn stress, and they also learn how to communicate. We call it the chain of command, they call it yelling and screaming. We don't yell and scream here in the Excelsior High Desert Young Marine Unit or the BRT training. Our training is loving, nurturing, training assistants, and the others that train the Young Marines through their basic recruit training know how to talk to the Young Marines. They do not yell. As an example, if we want to get focus with the Young Marine recruit, we don't do it like you see in the movies, if you saw Full Metal Jacket, all that kind of thing. We don't yell in your face. Here's what we do. I just demonstrate this to you. The training assistant and the training officer will say to his group, and I'll use you as my example group, they'll say, repeat after me. Eyeball. You repeat. Eyeball. Again, and I'm going to say it a little louder so that the ones in the back can hear me. Eyeball. Eyeball. A little higher decibel. Eyeball. 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 That's how far we go. Are you focused now? That's exactly why we do what we do. We are not mad at the recruit. We do not take it out on the recruit. We're not a bunch of psychopaths that desire to demonstrate our willingness to beat somebody else down verbally. Our purpose is to show focus, direction, and control. That's what they learn in basic recruit training. Sure did. See, there's a future young Marine. After we became chartered, you need to know that we are a 501c3 nonprofit youth organization. When we started, there were 68 families that signed up, there were families that signed up 68 young Marine potential recruits in February of last year. The following month, we started our very first day of recruit training. After the first day of recruit training, which lasted about 8 hours, approximately 45 returned the next day. After the second day, they returned the third day, there was approximately 40. And by the fourth day, I should say the fourth month because we went on 3 or 4 months. The fourth month, we only had about 39. The last phase was to be sent down to the Marine Corps base at Camp Pendleton, California, which is next to the town of Oceanside, and a little spot called Camp Toliga. If you're a veteran Marine or a hospital corpsman, you know that Camp Toliga is in Area 64, which is in the northwestern portion of Camp Pendleton, way out in the boonies, right next to Camp Morno. We took over the old World War II Quonset huts and brought them back to restorations, and we now use those for our training purposes down at Camp Pendleton. So while you're there, you undergo a complete change from a civilian to a young Marine. So we sent down a busload of our young Marine recruits. We're going to take you to the final phase down there. Only 37 came back. So you can tell the difference between 68 deduct the 37, you know how many didn't make the grade. It's no different than today. Those of you who are signing up, either your child or you yourself are here to enroll, I can guarantee you this program, the basic recruit training, is not for the wimpy. It's a Marine Corps style basic recruit training. In fact, we usually did it here on this campus. But it was decided this year to do it on a Marine base. So we went to the commanding officer, Colonel Scalisi, at the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Barstow, and we sat down and said, look, we'd like to have some help. We're going to hold a basic recruit training class in the middle of the year in July. Can you give us a hand? He said, sure, what do you need? He said, we need quarters, we need specific facilities for exercising, we need a lot of ground to run on. He gave it all to us. So those of you who are going to be enrolling, going to be attending, your basic recruit training will be held at the Marine Corps Logistics Base in Barstow for this year. This year is the first time we do not have it on weekends. It will be straight from one point in the week, straight through to Sunday, and that Sunday will be graduation day. In fact,